Welcome to this session, which we're going to look through the June 2020 paper, paper 3 for Edexcel. It's a calculator paper, so always handy to have a calculator, and we'll go through it now. Actually, though, there's hardly any questions where you need the calculator. We're going to look here at these questions and show you how to do them. So obviously what we're going to try and think about is what questions do we need to get to ensure we get a grade 4, grade 5, etc, etc. And generally speaking, it's about the sort of 10-12 bound mark zone. So let's start off with this one, indices. You should know that at this point you're going to add those ones together, so it's n to the 8. So when you multiply and the bases are the same, you add the exponents or the powers or the indices, different names for the same thing. Right, this one here, it's all about cancelling down, isn't it? And a nice way of thinking about this one is to say, well, that's C, 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 and then 4 sets of D all over C, C, D. It's a long-winded way of doing it, but think about it. If you're just trying to gain a 5 or a 6, then all you really worry about is the first half of the paper. Make sure you get as most of that right as you can. And if it takes you slightly longer, then that's okay. This says 2 minutes. If it takes me 4 minutes, I should be fine. Aim for 3, obviously. So here we go. We cancel that down, take a D off there. And then look, we've got 1 set of C plus 3 at the top there. So therefore, that's going to be C, D cubed. Let's look at this one here. Looks a bit more problematic, doesn't it? So it's got an inequality sign. I'm going to treat it like it was an equal sign to begin with. So I'm literally going to think of it as if it was equal sign. But I'm going to write that, but every time I look at it, I think, equal. I only have to really worry when I'm dividing or timesing by a negative. Otherwise, I can just be happy like this. So first of all, you've got two things happening here. Let's deal with the divide by 2 by timesing both sides by 2. And now we've got to get rid of the times by 5. So we're going to divide both sides by 5, and you get 2.8. Boom. Now let's just go across to this one here. So Andy cycles a distance of 30k, an average speed. So what we got here is we've got speed, we've got distance, and we've got time. And what's really handy is when we look at this thing here, that tells us this is speed, and it says we've got distance over time. So really, straight from here, you can see how to go about answering this. Because the question asks us, what time does it take? So there's 2 parts to the journey. He cycles and then he runs. So let's just go through that one. If I want to work out the time here, because that's what it's asking, it's distance divided by speed. So we know it goes 30k divided by the speed, 24 kmh. Make sure the units are always the same. And then he runs, so I'm going to add to that, because we're looking at the total time, 12k at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour. Now what's really useful here on our calculator is that button there. That's really, really good. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my brackets because I always think safe with that. So turn it on, open bracket, 30 divided by 24, close bracket, then I'm going to add, open bracket, 12 divided by 8, close bracket, equals, I get that. Now, if I press this button here, so I press that, it tells me 2 hours, 45 minutes and 0 seconds. So there we go, 2 hours, 45 minutes. So now at this point, I've got 8 marks in the bag, so it's all going well. So this question here, a number m is rounded to 1 decimal place, the result is 9.4. Complete the error interval. Essentially saying is you've got all this number, so it's 9.4, it's no longer the number line like that, and I have a particular number and I round it always to 9.4. So it could be a lower number that I round to 9.4, or it could be a bigger number that I round down to 9.4. But it's to 1 decimal place. So the next category below would have been 9.3, and the category above would be 9.5. They're the sort of categories, I guess. So I need to go halfway, don't I? And so that tells me it's 93.5, and 94.5, or in this case 9.35 and 9.45. And that's what I put in there. So I know it's 9.35. M is greater than or equal to 9.35, but less than 9.45. And that's how you do the first page. That's 10 marks. Watch the next page for the next one.